Hello again, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Budget in Focus. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, Budget in Focus is designed to remind you that the APNU AFC Coalition Government's Budget 2017 was in fact designed to ensure that monies stay in the pockets of our citizens. Of course, today we will continue on the note that we recently began on, and we've been working along those lines. It is my pleasure to welcome to our broadcast today Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, the Honorable Annette Ferguson. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Malika.
Great to have you. Also joining us is a Member of Parliament, Government Member of Parliament, Mr. Charrandas Persaud. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Malika. It's a pleasure.
Great to have you both. And viewers, I should also let you know at this time that one of the main areas in which MP Charrandas Persaud works in, of course, has to do with Berbice. So he has a lot of information to give to us today in terms of how Budget 2017 will benefit our residents in Berbice. First off, MP Persaud, we know that in your budget presentation, you focused extensively on the agriculture sector. Let's hear about how Budget 2017 will provide for the Berbice community, especially as it relates to the agriculture sector.
Malika, I'm particularly focusing on Region 6, because that's where I'm mostly around. Agriculture is I would like to call it the backbone of the people in Berbice, both regions 5 and 6. Rice and sugar. In no part of the country will you have more rice grown or more sugar than you have in regions 5 and 6 combined. And so for me, the rumor that, first of all, this government is going to be closing Rosal Estate is something that I would like to give the people some assurances on. I will say this: the closure of Wales, which is sort of like the pivotal step that is creating this doubt as far as the closure of the industry is concerned. Wales was closed. They're expecting, or they're saying, that Rosal will be closed. That has not been mentioned. I don't know of that, and I don't want to lie to you or to the people. I don't know that this government has any plans to close Rosal Estate. But I wish to draw attention to the fact that sugar by itself, as an industry, is being subsidized, has been so for many, many years during the PPP time. We have to subsidize it, and for that, the people need to understand just this. It is this spin-off effect. While it is true that sugar is not bringing money, it facilitates the government. With whatever we sell, we get some foreign money, foreign exchange. The people who work in the sugar industry, while it is being subsidized by government, they buy things, all kinds of things. Some of them look to do improvements in their homes. These are products that attract VAT and other forms of taxes that government again benefit from. It's the spin-off effect. So while government is putting in a lot of money in the sugar industry, and it seems as if this industry is not making money, there's a need to keep it going, to keep the people employed, and to have much needed foreign exchange coming from sugar. And that is something that is very difficult for the people to understand. They are now looking through their union GAU to go on strike, asking for more money. Now I'm simply appealing to the people of Berbice. Your demand for more money can be met if there is more money to give. But if government is just putting money into the industry to keep it afloat, where is the extra money that you will get by demanding what you're demanding?
I'm happy that you talked about that money that government is putting in to keep it afloat. You did to some extent address it, but what do you say to the people at this time who would want to say, well, look, government is just wasting our monies. They're wasting monies in the budget 2017 that would have been allocated to keep that industry afloat. How do you say, well, this is justified?
Well, that's what I said just now. The spin-off effect of government keeping this industry afloat, the entire sugar industry, is the people are employed continuously. The money that they earn by way of wages, they spend. School books, children's outfit, clothes for themselves, and some even buy cars. And as I said, some do home improvements. These are all taxable items. The earnings that they take home are taxed. So government gets some of that money back. And then when sugar is sold, there's foreign exchange, much needed.
You did address the people who may be the naysayers and the people who are criticizing. With all that you have said, we've heard some of it before in the public domain. We still find people who work in the sugar industry who are still a bit worried and concerned. Over time, what can they expect to see that is expected to bring some amount of assurance to people who work in the sugar industry?
Malika, one of the things that was never done with sugar during the 23 years of the BBP is byproduct. From sugar, these little packets that we get on planes and in foreign countries, these little packets of sugar, we have not done that from our sugar. We sell our sugar raw as it is, and the processing is done outside by various organizations or groups outside of Guyana. And so they capitalize on the byproduct, or if you want to call it the spin-off. Again, I like the term spin-off, the spin-off effect. If we do that, if we have some added products coming off sugar, it will enhance the industry and more or less keep it going. Because, you know, there are all kinds of sweetening these days, or sweeteners. People prefer to use honey. There's beet sugar. They use these artificial sweetener. And so all these are things that put a serious dent in the business of sugar, as we know, cane sugar. So there's hope that with proper management, and we have restructured the management team of Gaisuco, sugar can still be a viable product once we do not go through all these wildcat strikes to cause the grief that the people are experiencing because of that.
Okay, great. Thank you, MP Persaud. Minister Ferguson, I'd like you now to, in a sense, link with what some of the things that MP Persaud spoke about as it relates to public infrastructure. Of course, we know public infrastructure is not only for one region or one community. It is general. Let's talk about what has been provided in Budget 2017 for public infrastructure, and specifically, too, how can the people of MP Charrandas' region benefit?
Thank you very much once again, Malika. And to you Guyanese out there, a pleasant evening to you. With regards to, or to supplement what MP Charrandas would have just alluded to, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will be playing a pivotal part in the 2017 budget, because remember, if you're talking about agriculture, majority of the farmers, to get from one end to the other, they would have to use roads. So what you find happening, even though we have our own responsibility, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure from time to time would give assistance to the Ministry of Agriculture to create farm roads so persons can have easy access from the main road to their farmlands. So as I said before, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will be playing a major part in the 2017 budget when it comes to agricultural development.
Okay, let's just move on a bit. As a minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, what are you most satisfied with, or I should ask you, what will you mostly capitalize on in the budget 2017 that is expected, again, to ease some of the burdens that our Guyanese people currently face?
Well, obviously, you know, Malika, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, our main responsibility is to ensure that our roads, our road network is properly in place. So my major role in this 2017 budget is to ensure that what we have programmed for 2017, we try to have them executed before the 31st of December 2017. And I can assure all Guyanese, be it from Region 1 right through to Region number 10, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will be playing a major role in ensuring that our road networks are properly, prepared so that persons can have easy access on our roadways.
I'd like you to talk about one specific road in general. That is the road that a lot of people, and I'm sure MP Charrandas is also excited about this road, and that's the Lethem road, because it has been a long time in coming. Of course, I'll eventually get some sentiments from MP Charrandas on that too. But let's talk, because people, they want to hear as much as they possibly can about this road. When will we start seeing work? How soon people will be able to access and so on? So let's talk about that road.
Well, you know, Malika, currently we are actually debating budget 2017. So when the estimates are passed by the 21st of December 2016, we will commence, going out for public tender, inviting contractors to submit their bids by, I guess, just before the first quarter of 2017. So to give a true estimation as to when works are likely to start on the Linden to Lethem road, I would say just before the completion of the first quarter of 2017. And if I may back up a bit, His Excellency, his passion is always to see the coastline connecting to the hinterland. And I think that is why, emphasis will be placed on the Linden to Lethem road. As you rightfully said, it's long overdue. So the entire stretch will not be completed in 2017. What we will start in 2017 is a phase, right? So we will start the phase 1. So the phase 1 should be able to take us, probably close to Mabura area sometime. So I guess that is what I would want to say for the Linden to Lethem road network.
Okay, well, we'll definitely look forward to more information on that coming to the public. MP Charrandas, your sentiments on what will be really a significant achievement for Guyana once we get that road done.
But Malika, personally, I've been reading Western novels. And in the pioneer days, the development of the West of the United States of America, settlers will travel from various parts of the country and other countries, and then they settle in an area, and some others will come and settle in another area. The link now between this settlement here that is unknown to the other one out there is what actually promoted the development of the West. And then they started building railways. This government, President Granger, has a vision, as Minister Ferguson just said. We don't want the interior people or the hinterland people to feel that they're not connected or they're not part of what we do on the coast. And so bring them together. We must all be functioning in one, with one thought. We are Guyanese. We are all in this country. We live here. And so the link would facilitate a lot of things that I would personally benefit from, and other people. Some people want to go to the rodeo. Let them. It's an annual thing and a big thing. That is fun. That's entertainment. 2, 3, 4 days for the weekend. You can do that with easy access once there's a road that links the communities. It will facilitate all kinds of things. People from Linden can move easier to Lethem. And you are way too young to remember the days when the Linden Highway was not there. People used to travel by speedboat to go up there. My mom had a brother, died a long time ago, who was doing business there. He would buy stuff in Georgetown and take it up to Linden, because then it was a flourishing mining town. And people will pay 3, 4 times the amount of money that he buys them for in Georgetown. So business was very lucrative. Then comes the highway. The population of Linden started to build and increase. And today it is what it is. That is what you're looking at, development. So this link will create, and can only create, development. Both sides of the fence.
Yes. But indeed, Budget 2017 is one that promotes development.
Yes, and if I may add to the discussion, not only will it allow for easy access, one, it will also allow for the reduction in time. Because currently, right now, to get from the coastline to the hinterland, it will take you in excess of 12 hours. So with us doing at least something on the road, we would see a significant reduction in time.
Okay, Great. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, of course, this is Budget in Focus, designed to tell you exactly about all of the positive things and developing things that the 2017 national budget would actually contains for the citizens of our country. Minister Ferguson, MP Charrandas just spoke about, in a sense, I can't go down memory lane because I didn't exist then, but he just spoke about the days when waterways, the water transportation was very popular even before the Linden highway. One of the things I noted from Minister Jordan's presentation, budget presentation, is that he also talked about ferries and so on, rehabilitating them and so. Could you expound a bit on that?
Yes, Malika, in the budget 2017 allocation, there is in excess of $200+ million to continue rehabilitative works on our ferry vessels. You know, Transport and Harbours Department, that is our main river transport server. So what you'll find happening for the 2017, we have in excess of 3 vessels that will undertake massive rehabilitative works. MV Malali, MB Sandaka, and MV Lady North Court. As you are aware, and you know, Guyanese by extension, we have the Region 1 area that is Barima-Winey, and that particular region is currently being served by the Lady North Court. So recently, government would have entered into the line of credit with India. So shortly, we will be seeing a new vessel coming on stream, which would improve, you know, travel time, which will improve easy travel, and we will see more services being more services will be benefiting the residents there in region number 1. So, you know, budget 2017 has a lot in store for the riverine transportation sector.
And in moving from Region 1, I would like to go back to Region 6 for a bit. MP Charrandas, you spoke extensively on sugar and how sugar is provided for in the 2017 budget. I know you're an MP who would have been working on the ground and so on. Based on what the citizens of that region would have been saying, how else would the 2017 budget help to ease some of their burdens, bring relief and so on, and basically provide for the region, other than the areas of sugar?
Malika, well, the next big area is rice. I spoke to the Prime Minister just a short while ago. There's the biggest rice miller, I think, even in the country, would be the Charrandas Persaud, and they're up at number 35 village on the quarantine. They are looking to do aerial spray. I am canvassing heavily to have that approved, and I'll tell you why. Let's just say 100 acres, take Blackbush. Or 1,000 acres of rice in Blackbush. And I'm just picking a number. For you to have men with a spray can on their backs, walking through the fields to spray, it'll take them days, say 5 men. If you have a plane that does the spraying, it'll do all of quarantine in a day. And it will occupy just 3 men. The pilot and the guys who are operating the spray machine on the plane. It will be done in a day. The advantage to that is, if the rice is sprayed today and tomorrow it rains, you have only done a portion of the fields and it's washed out. Whereas you look at the weather and you make one big dash with the plane, you spray it all in a day, 2 days or so dry, it's good. What happens, there's a thing called Gandhi that affects rice, blast if you want to call it, where the rice grains, that it's all hollow inside, there's nothing. You can prevent that. And farmers, up to this year, farmers have lost as high as 15% to Gandhi and blast because of lack of spraying. The pesticide will do the job, but you also have to guard against now this pesticide getting from the fields into the waterways. I'll give you that very quickly. But back to the spraying. If, as an employee, as a member of parliament, myself, as the minister sitting here, if the government should come and say, you know what, we have some slight problem here, I'll have to give you a 10% cut in wage from here on. We will want to raise some objections. farmers have to take at least 10 to 15% loss to these rice problems, blast and Gandhi. And I'm using just the two which people are familiar with. That is a 10% cut in their pay. That is unacceptable. And I'm saying this, once they're allowed to have aerial spray done, cover the field so quickly, that can be reduced down to about maybe 2-3%. Very acceptable. Then the spraying. When you spray with the cans, there is more in some areas than you would have in some areas. Okay. What happens then is the water that the spray gets into, when you drain the fields, they come out in the canals, enter into the tributaries that lead to the Kanji Creek. Mm-hmm. And people in the Kanji Creek depend almost exclusively on Kanji Creek water for all that they do, cooking, water. There was a time when that drainage would have caused so much problem they couldn't, for miles up and down the river from these two outlets coming out of Blackbush, the water was not good to drink. Fish would die in the canal because of the pesticide that came out of it. So now EPA, the Minister of Infrastructure, Mr. Patterson, they're all involved now to look to see how we can have this aerial spray effective so that it'll facilitate rice growing. And rice is picking up in terms of price. To have rice become more viable, you look at, again, I always think of byproducts, you know, spin-off effect. You spin off because you can spin money into the pockets of the people when you do that. Packaging of rice, which Nan Persaud does so well. Packaging of, rather than selling the rice in bags as we did before. You sell the 2 kg package, America will buy it, a lot of countries will buy it. It's easier to market and you get more money. You know how that goes. A simple putting something in a little bag and wrapping it up, it's packaged. You pay a little bit more than if you just here, take it, it's here on a paper or something. It's presentation. But these are areas that rice can benefit the people. And I spoke to Minister Patterson. He said the east bank of Berbice, a road from New Amsterdam as we know it, to Mara. Mara, that area is strictly agriculture. Almost 100% agriculture. So a road there, that is Bank Road, and I got assurances that that will be built. You know, one of the things, and I'll say this very quickly, when government says, look, we will do this, it does not necessarily mean that, you know, hands go into pockets and monies are thrown out and they start building. There's a process. There's a process. And sometimes it takes longer. We've been told that these bank roads should have started since September of this year. It hasn't happened, but it does not mean that it's being shelved. There are all kinds of little ramifications, little this and that to be sorted out for that to go. But it is in the pipeline, it will happen. And so farmers across that East Bank, and there are plenty of them, they grow rice, they also grow heavy in ground provision and the vegetables coming out of Mara. So they will benefit there also.
You made a lot of interesting points there, especially where the packages is concerned. I'm always concerned about how the ordinary citizens like myself will benefit, and especially from the things that you're talking about in terms of the spin-offs. Have you gotten the sense that these are things that they want and they're willing to contribute in whatever small way they can in order to ensure that, look, their region benefits, especially through some of the suggestions that you were making, in terms of feedback from the people on the ground?
You mean the farmers?
Yes, farmers and citizens in general, people who are also not necessarily involved in farming.
I'll tell you how farmers are, or what they're mainly interested in. Mm-hmm. I harvest, let's say you get 30 bags per acre. Mm-hmm. I need to know that I can get a fair pay per bag. Now, what the millers do might not be my concern, as long as they pay me. I sell, they take it, and they can do what they want. Do things like basmati rice. You can develop aromatic rice. You know, there's some flavored rice that you produce after you've done with the main thing. You start packaging them and you add a little bit. There are machines that do all these fancy things. The millers will do that, and the millers sometimes will just double their profit by doing that. But the farmers, if the millers are making more money, They will pass some of that on, look, we'll buy your rice. We'll give you X amount of dollars more. So once that is in place and it's funneled down to the farmers will be excited. A lot of land is in Berbice to be developed. A lot have been developed, and because of the slump in the market, and I'm saying slump, after the Petrocarib deal died, which we didn't kill, and I'm not making excuses. The deal died. So it's a handicap for the farmers. We're looking to have other markets explored, and it'll take time. Malika, the thing that the people are, that is being forced on the people, they said they're going to do this. They haven't done it in 18 months. I mean, you go to a tailor and say, look, I got 7 of my sisters coming in, and we want, or a seamstress, I should say, we want these wedding dresses done by the time. And then Charrandas comes up, and Minister Ferguson comes up, but the same seam, because she's so good. Look, we got another 7, we have his wedding, we got to go to. What will the poor tailor or seamstress do? She will take the job because she's relied on, but we can't get it all done in this time frame. So all I'm saying, and I'm hoping that my brothers and sisters in Berbice can pay attention to some of the things they're being fed by that are negative. I like I said, I don't want to go, bombarding people. Things that are negative. Look carefully to see how things are happening. In 18 months, 19 if they want to take the other one, there's only so much that could have been done. There is only so much that could have been done. But there's a lot more to be done, and this government is seriously interested in getting a lot more done to make the people comfortable.
All right, great, and we look forward to that. MP Ferguson, the next big thing that people are really happy and excited about, so that is where we take you to Region 3. The Demerara Harbour Bridge has become a sore issue, and of course we heard the announcement in the budget that it is provided for. I'll ask you to give some details on what is provided for in the 2017 budget as it relates to getting a new bridge across that river.
Yeah, thank you very much, Malika. I just want to let the viewers know that in 2016 we invited public tenders. We had expression of interest, and we were only able to receive 23 submissions, but we weren't comfortable with the submissions we received. So what we did is that we invited, or there's this private company from Netherlands, Lethem CSO, right? Yes. So they have, Cabinet has given its no objection for that particular company to at least conduct a feasibility study. So the feasibility study will be completed, will be done in January of 2017. And they have given a timeline, and the timeline is 6 months. So we give them by July to have their submissions made. So when the submissions are received, then we will go out for public tender, inviting contractors to bid for the design in order to start the work. So hopefully in 2017 we will see something moving with regards to the Demerara Harbour Bridge area. And I must make the pitch that the bridge that will be constructed to link the East Bank with the West Coast, it will be a fixed bridge. Right now, we have a floating bridge, and that has outlived its time, so we have, high rate in traffic congestion, and I must say that the management and staff of the Demerara Harbour Bridge, they would have used their initiative to introduce like the night retraction. So what you'll find is that you would have less hours being lost during the high peak hours, right? So 2017, things will happen for the residents in region number 3. And, that is where the good life.
I want to stay on the bridge for a bit. I know this has been to somewhat, to some extent, ventilated in the public already. But of course, different viewing audience and, persons don't always follow. In terms of that same bridge, is it that this new bridge will completely replace the old bridge? Will it be dismantled? Would we keep it there?
I must admit that that has not been a thought as yet, right? So I guess, in the future, government will decide whether they will retain what is there. And, you know, so at least the region can be well serviced. So that is something that the government will explore in time to come.
We hear a whole lot of about transportation, and again, it's almost on every program I have to mention this. We sometimes tend to forget. I mean, not only in Region 6, MP Charrandas' region, but we forget our hinterland communities. Hinterland airstrips, the development of hinterland airstrips would have been an issue for some time now. Let's talk about what's provided for that. For those, I should say.
Yes, well, you know, in 2016, we had in excess of 8 airstrips, right? Some 300 and something million was actually budgeted in the 2016 budget. Airstrips such as Copenhagen, Paramakatoy, just to name a few, right? But in 2017, works will commence or will continue in certain regions where our airdromes are concerned. I must say that in 2016, we had a policy, we have a draft policy, and that draft policy is actually to develop our airdromes. So come 2017, the sum of in excess of 200 million has been allocated to see works done on Chai Chai West. I think you have Ittering, Ikiriku Bottom, you have Kaikan, you have I think Kato too, just to name a few. So works will continue in the development of our airdromes because, mind you, majority of our hinterland persons, to get from where they are to coastland, they depend heavily on air transportation. And mind you, if you visit some of these airdromes, you will be at loss to see the state of these airdromes. So government is committed, and we will ensure that in 2017 we bring some sort of relief to our brothers and sisters in the hinterland regions.
MP Charrandas, would you like to comment on this area?
I know a couple of them, and I know that there's need to have them refurbished because over time, you know, the surfaces will just deteriorate, and it's a good thing that they're, because one of the most important to me that I've seen is the Camarang Airport, because it's a hub and it facilitates access to quite a few of the villages out there. I've been up there a few times myself too. But there's a need, and I'm glad that Minister is saying, you know, they will. You see, again, Malika, we're going to do these things. They will be done. But like it's like the Demerara Harbour Bridge. It takes time to get people. These people will need time to assess, and as was described in the bridge situation, about 6 months they're being given to do a complete assessment. Then it will go out to tender. So when you say, oh, you all say you're going to build a Demerara Harbour Bridge and 2017 done. That may be so, but it doesn't mean that nothing has been done in relation to building the bridge. It is the process that takes the time, and we have to, you know, bear patience, hang in there. Things are happening. And sure, question if you want to, but question the right people. And so you can get information that will only facilitate your knowledge of what is happening. That's
And I'm sure that's where the quote comes in, Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right. Yeah.
MP Ferguson, we're staying in aviation sector. The Chedi Jagan International Airport. Now, we've seen problems, we've seen good things, we've seen bad things. We know there are works going on at that airport currently. What is the status on those works? And again, 2017, what can we look forward to?
Yes, Malika, like 2016, works will continue in 2017 because, you know, there's a timeline to have such works completed. And that's by December 31st, 2017, right? So monies are allocated in the 2017 budget to continue works on our new terminal building. We will be having new runway or an extension of the current runway. So works are progressing nicely, despite a few hiccups here and there, but we're managing.
Okay, I'm told that there was a recent announcement that there is a sort of upgrade in terms of world standards when it comes to the international airport, in terms of the category where it's at.
Well, in order well, where it's at, I can safely say that with the completion of the extension and the current works being done at the Chedijagan International Airport, it will bring Guyana up to par with international standards where aviation is concerned.
Okay, all right. MP Charrandas, you know, of course, we're still also talking about Region 6, and I know in your budget debate, your budget conversation, you dealt with a lot of issues. What are some of the other things that you also touched on, just so that your viewing public can get a sense of the work that is going to be done?
Oh, you're talking about the work? A lot of roads. A lot of roads. We have some that were in Amsterdam. Terrible, you couldn't go through them. And then one where the most prestigious school in my days, that's Burbis High School. The access road to that school was such a mess. You couldn't have children going through, and of course they have to wear neat white socks and black shoes and a uniform, and they're coming out there on a rainy day. The slush was too much. So there are a lot of roads being built. And that, again, as Minister Ferguson said, the access roads, whether it'll be to the farmlands, to public hospitals, to schools, they are necessary. And once those are looked at, it'll make life easy for a lot of people. You know, some cars will tell you, no, I'm not going, and now they're telling you, particularly the East Bank Road, I'm not going up, I'm not going to Edinburgh, I like my car. But with the road being built, you wouldn't have a problem. You would, as a matter of fact, you will have more cars. That should benefit the people in a lot of ways. So that is just one area because of the roads. And in relation to what is happening as far as the budget is concerned, the budget caters for development work in Burbis, particularly from Ministry of Infrastructure, Ministry of Housing, through Ministry of Communities, my good friend and minister there, Valerie Patterson, has looked at, and she's outlined a few areas where they're not only going to put families into homes, or they're making effort to have an 18-year-old who's ambitious enough and wants a home. You can apply. The conditions and the restrictions were a bit tough, and I'm using a small word, for people, the youngsters, to have homes. So again, there's emphasis on young people moving into the world of ownership. Own a house at 18, 20. By the time you're as old as I am, you can probably own 2 or 3, you sell one, you know. Bottom line is, there's encouragement for the youngsters, youths, to go out there and do things. And if you know, Malika, as a youngster, 18, look, you can buy a house lot, you know. But you got to be working. You got to make so much money. You got to be able to pay so much per month. And a lot of youngsters, 18 and 20, are hitching up. I shouldn't say married because they don't get married. They have a wife. They have a husband. But you have to be working. I think it's an incentive. It'll be a definite incentive. Go get a job. Look, you can get a house. You don't have to rent. You don't have to live with your mother-in-law. All these are incentives. Motivational factors you can look at to encourage the youngsters to come into householder stage.
And Malika, if I may,
sure.
I mean, even though the question was directed to my colleague here, and he made a reference to roads in 2016, in 2017, just to add to that, not only roads, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure or the Ministry of Communities will be addressing. You know, we will continue to electrify some areas that never see the day of light where electricity is concerned. Water, for instance, you know, my colleague and friend, Minister Dawn Hastings, she spoke about it just last Tuesday night. Areas that have never seen the day of light, with a drop of water coming through their taps. 2017, we have started in 2016, and we will continue in 2017. So the big picture here is to bring that good life in which the APNU AFC government promised to all Guyanese.
Great. I am very happy that MP Charrandas raised the issue of housing, raised the housing sector. to some extent, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure is partially responsible. Let's talk about the kind of support that your ministry will be giving to the Department of Housing, especially in new housing communities, developing housing communities when it comes, well, you spoke extensively about roads, but street lights and so on, because again, one of the complaints that you keep hearing is that, look, we can't do anything with our property, our land or whatever, because infrastructure has not been developed in those communities. Let's talk about the kind of support that the Ministry of Public Infrastructure will be given to the Department of Housing.
Well, Malika, I just want to make this point very clear. The Ministry of Communities, you know, they would have, I guess they have an engineering department. And the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, you know, it is being perceived that, you know, we have the main technical people there. So in terms of your question posed, what support we will give is that the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, we will continue, like we have been doing, to give support to the Ministry of Communities, you know, offer advice, because, you know, many new housing schemes are developing and will develop in time to come. But you know what we find is that after these housing schemes are developed, then we realize that, you know, a pipe or an electrical pole needs to be planted here, and amongst other utility infrastructure. So what you will find or see happening is that we would work together to ensure that the demarcated areas or the areas are properly demarcated. So 5 years down the line, you don't have to break a road to plant a pole, or you don't have to break the road to install pipelines. So there must be a niche between, you know, the various ministries, so that at least we wouldn't see taxpayers' money, you know, going to waste.
Great. Let's get some sentiments from you now on the waterfront. I know it's one of the, I would call it one of the fun projects, because when you hear waterfront, you think about transforming Guyana. Even this is where the Green Initiative comes up, which I'm going to get some sentiments from MP Charrandas in a moment regarding the Green Initiative and of course his region. But let's talk about it, because it's basically changing the face of our, not the city only, but it's basically changing the face of our country.
Yes, Malika. In Budget 2017, there will be, or there is rather, allocation for the whole development of, or the transformation of our waterfront. So the government will be entering into an agreement with UK SIF. I think they will be offering us grants, and the CDB will be monitoring those grants. So what you will see, it's an entire transformation from the Stabroek area where the speedboat lands or would normally moor, way up to the Ogle public road there. So the entire stretch right away around Marriott, the seawall, back at the seawalls there, the entire area will be transformed. We will be constructing boardwalks. So what you will find, it will provide a multi-purpose activities for our, you know, the elderly, the youths who would want to go, you know, do their physical exercises on an afternoon. You know, you may have a wedding and you want to go somewhere different to have your photos taken. You know, that would be the ideal place, because that whole entire stretch will be transformed. You know, so we'll be having nice little huts where you have persons who want to ply their trade. They will do it in a, you know, well organized and coordinated way.
And that's exactly why I call it the fun project.
Yes.
MP Charrandas, changing the face of our country, beautifying, and this is where also you can bring in the green, Guyana's Green Initiative.
Malika, just to piggyback a little on what Minister Ferguson just said, I don't know how many Guyanese have been to. We might have seen pictures of Atlantic City in New Jersey. Atlantic City is a waterfront project. There's a beautiful boardwalk. In the summer, you can hardly get space to walk there. But what is Atlantic City? A string of huge buildings, development that attracts all kinds of people from across the globe. What is behind that? Swamp. Swamp, just swamp. But the front is the Atlantic Ocean. what you have as the waterfront development, it's an attraction that people cannot neglect. People will go there no matter what else you have. That boardwalk idea, it's one of the longest boardwalks you have in Atlantic City. And something that may sound so simple. There are vendors sitting alongside there now, plying their trade. Legally, you rent a spot like you do in the market somewhere, but it's huge. And from where we're looking at coming in, covering the whole, well, from East Ogle right down to Georgetown here, that will be an attraction by itself. Magnificent thing. I'm hoping, and Minister, I'm hoping that we can have something like that happening for us in Berbice. There is the view now with the oil find to build a deep water harbor. There's work happening, all kinds of things happening there now in Berbice. That deep water harbor will involve a few villages as far as land is concerned that go all the way down to the waterfront. But it may not be the boardwalk that we're looking at in Georgetown because of the extent of the, I'll call it swamp for now, and the kurda tree, they call it what they call mangrove, that literally infest those areas. And you know what? They don't only infest, they protect. Because you don't find those banks breaking away easily where we have the mangrove. They protect the land. They prevent the sea from coming in further, and that is the reality of having mangroves. So we may not have that type of facility to give it, but we also have 63 Beach, a lovely beach area. That, I think, would be a marvelous thing to develop. And again, that by itself, as it is, attracts thousands of people. On certain days, Easter Monday, you go there, you've never seen, probably think Guyana has 1 million people right here at number 63 Beach. So again, Malika, it's the timing thing. You know, we want to do so much. This government wants to do enough to benefit everybody, but it has to be done in stages. There is the process. We can't have it all. Rome was not built in a day.
Indeed. We're quickly approaching closing time. One of the things I also want you to talk about, however, is the Green Initiative. We're staying on nature, and of course, when I think green, I think beauty. The Green Initiative in Region 6, how has it been accepted? How do you expect Guyana's Green Initiative to benefit the people of Berbice? Because a lot has been provided in the 2017 budget for to further to promote our Green Initiative.
Malika, the Green Initiative, I think interpretation may be an issue there. What exactly is the Green Initiative? Does it mean that we have to have everything green around us? Does it mean that anything we do must be bearing in mind this green, the color green, because it's the color of the government or something? The Green Initiative is an acceptable thing, and it will be better accepted if more of us or more of the people, or the people understand more of what it's about. And for now, I will say the Green Initiative is something, again, that will have to phase itself in. But the people are already looking at, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. You know, we used to, simple things. You drive on the road now, and you don't see the piles of garbage anymore. People are looking to clean up and keep the place environmentally friendly. Keep it clean. Things are happening, and I would like to encourage the people to continue to believe that the Green Initiative will benefit all of us. And it is not difficult for us to participate in and be part of this Green Initiative. We will understand it as time goes by. We'll understand it better and be able to better function to help promote this Green Initiative.
And if I may, if I may
you
comment
may.
at this point in time, you know, the Minister of State, I think in his budget presentation Tuesday evening, he would have made it clear what is government's vision when it comes to the Green Initiative or the green economy. You know, in Budget 2017, there is provision for solar installation to government buildings, and I think a few schools, I think if my memory serves me accurate, 6 schools in the city or across the country have been identified to have solar installation. So the green initiative to me is us moving, saving on energy, which would cause a reduction in fossil fuel, amongst other things. So by us moving from, generation or generator set, you're trying to change the mindset of our Guyanese people that if we go this way, we would be able to save on energy. We would be able to save on, electricity is energy, but at least you will see a major reduction in your electricity charges.
Okay, and viewers, I must also let you know at this time, this green initiative, the Minister of State, of course, as Minister Ferguson alluded to, the Minister of State, in another episode of Budget in Focus, he will be expanding a little more on the green initiative, and of course, we will also be giving you the other terms that are really being used to ensure, like MP Charrandas said, to ensure that people really understand what this green initiative is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming closely to wrap up time. I would like both of you to leave with the public things that they can really take away from and hold on to when it comes to how the 2017 budget will benefit them. And from you, MP Ferguson, I'd like you, as usual, and this is because you're a woman, Minister Ferguson, I'm sending you back to MP days, but that is not a bad thing at all. Yes, but you're still a member of Parliament. Minister Ferguson, I'd like you to talk about women and children, and of course the only way the children can benefit is if the women benefit. What should our women take away from Budget 2017?
Yes, to put it in a nutshell, I see Budget 2017 for women. There's a lot in store for our women. Because if I'm to backpedal a bit, our First Lady, also the Minister of Social Protection, they have started a number of initiatives, a number of projects for our women. Minister Verida Lowe, in her budget presentation, she made it clear when she spoke specifically for the indigenous women what Budget 2017 has to offer for them. The good life. We want to ensure that our women are empowered. The process has started and it will continue. She alluded to the fact that in a particular indigenous community, the women, they're planting tomatoes and they're now able to process those tomatoes in making juice. So Budget 2017, as I said before, has a lot in store for women. When it comes to our children, yes, the big picture you would have seen, Budget 2017, a lot has been put in for our education because we believe in order for this country to move forward, we must educate our young people. So, 40-something billion has been allocated to the education sector. So, Budget 2017, in a nutshell, has its positive. Not only for women, not only for children, not also for the elderly, right? For the disabled. So, the public servants. Everybody will benefit from Budget 2017. Yes, the naysayers, they're saying that, things wouldn't happen for them. Dark days are ahead. I want to assure all Guyanese, be it your ethnic background, be it your political persuasion, Budget 2017 has a lot in store for you. Just give it a try. When 2017 comes, you will say, or you will talk differently.
Thank you very much, Minister Ferguson. MP Charrandas, some of the final sentiments from you, sir.
Malika, I would love to talk very quickly, because you mentioned we're running out of time, on this tax thing. All you're hearing, and last night I went out right in front of Starbuck Market before we concluded here to pick up some fruits. Some of the boys there, council, man, Guyana is a land of many waters. Why we got to pay tax on water? I said, well, go bathe in the trench or drink the creek water. Man, creek not near to us. Well, that is why you have to pay, because to put a pipe and put a machinery in place to pump this water over to your house, it'll cost money. You think it's going to come free? That was just the gist of the argument or the discussion. I said, man, look, to have water running through the pipes will cost money. And then you have a child who will stand under the pipe and float away and soak away. That is wasting water. Do you think it's wasting water? Well, why do you want to waste something that is very expensive to bring? If you're in the creek, you can go Dakar or Splash Min. You know, you soak as long as you want. But when you're at home and you have a pipe running, the water is wasting away. And that is the concept. That is something that Guyanese have a difficulty understanding. Malika, there was a research done recently in the United States of America on those of us who live out there and we brush our teeth and the pipe is running as we're brushing our teeth. You use about 5 to 7 gallons of water brushing your teeth. Because it's running, doing nothing while you're wiggling away with a toothbrush. When you tell people this, it's a concept that is beyond imagination. Oh, so when I'm soaping my skin in the shower, I must turn off the water. Maybe you can have a bucket that you will fill with water and you still need some water to soap your skin. But rather than having the shower run all the time as you soap and you take your scrubber and you're scrubbing, water is wasted away. Why do we want to waste water? It's the same thing. You go and you buy food and you cook and you take a mouthful, you eat and you throw away one mouthful. You eat one, you throw away one. Isn't that wasting? Because it's water and we're the land of many waters, it's okay to do? Well, it is not. And then to put that now into perspective, the reduction of VAT from 16% to 14% is across the board. If people who come out to tell you, my brothers and sisters in Guyana, that this VAT is a ridiculous thing, it's a death sentence, and people cannot progress because of this VAT on water and electricity. And those are the two they emphasize on. If you do the math and say, well, 16% down to 14 on, say, 100 items. And we now have another 10 or so added that were never VATed before, so there was no 16% on them, but they go up to 14. The net effect is you're saving a lot more by having this 2% reduction across the board that you used to pay on before and add up a bit more, and I'm saying a bit more, in terms of new items being VATed. That is the reality. But it's not being handed to the people like that, is it? You got to pay VAT on water. Ghana is a land of many waters, and you got to pay VAT. You got to pay VAT on electricity. Come on.
Indeed.
It's the way they sell it.
Thank you so very much to both of you, of course, viewers. This has been Budget in Focus with a Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable Annette Ferguson, and of course, Member of Parliament, the Government Member of Parliament, I should remind you, the Honorable Charrandas Persaud. I am Malika Ramsey, and this has been Budget in Focus. Thanks for watching.